We're talking today about this amazing call by the Vatican for a central bank of the world. That would put every financial institution in the world under its universal authority. Think about this. Now, I think we should go to the Bible and see what the Bible has to say. First of all, in verse 1 and 2 of Revelation 13, this whole chapter, by the way, is devoted to three things: one world government, one world religion, and one world economy. Isn't it amazing that Mikhail Gorbachev said there are three root causes for war upon earth: political conflicts, religious conflicts, and economic conflicts? And if we could have one world government, one world religion, and one world economy, we could remove war from the earth and enter into a utopian era of peace. And here this is written 2,000 years ago. Perestroika, in which he said that, was written in 1987. But this was written 2,000 years ago, prophesying for the end time just such a union. Let's go down through here just a moment, just so you can see that I'm not pulling this out of the thin air. It's Revelation 13, starting with verse number 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Let's stop there. Maybe you're not familiar with the prophecies of the Bible. A beast in Bible prophecy is always used to symbolize a nation or a kingdom. Now, I'm not pulling this out of my hat. If you'd like to prove this, go to Daniel chapter number 7, verse 23 and 24. Daniel 7, 23 and 24. The reason I'm saying 23 and 24 because I cannot remember which verse it is. It's one of those two. But it simply says there that the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom. Bingo. Nailed it. There we can see that these beasts symbolize kingdoms. There are 4 beasts in Daniel 7, and there are 4 kingdoms that it is prophesying about the future of. So the fourth beast will be the fourth kingdom. Well, the same beasts that are depicted in Daniel 7, a lion, bear, leopard, and a 10-horned beast, listen to this description of this beast, which was written 650 years later in Revelation chapter number 13. So I saw this 7-headed, 10 horns, this beast, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. That means against God. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Okay, so you've got in the book of Daniel chapter 7, a lion, a bear, a leopard, and the 10-horned beast. Here we have in Revelation 13, the body of the leopard, the feet of the bear, the mouth of the lion, the 10 horns of the 10-horned kingdom. So all of the elements of the 4 separate kingdoms of Daniel 7 have now merged into one kingdom, one beast, not 4 separate ones, one beast. What's that talking about? Surely that's not talking about the world community or the global community or the new world order that we're watching form right now through the process of globalization. Have you stopped to say, why are they're all the time talking about globalization? What do they mean by that? Well, it's simple. Globalization is the process of globalizing the world. We're moving from the nation-state structure of the world to a one-world governmental system. Strobe Talbott, who's presently the president of the Brookings Institute, America's #1 liberal think tank, and also he is an advisor to President Barack Obama right now. He wrote an article for Time magazine in July the 20th of 1992, and in that article he said, in the 21st century, national sovereignty as we have known it will cease to exist. We will all answer to a single global authority. Now, those are the words of one of the closest advisors to the President of the United States today. A person from his team, from the Brookings Institute, is now our ambassador to the world government, to the United Nations. Miss Susan Rice. She was working for Strobe Talbott at the Brookings Institute. But when Barack Obama became president, he appointed her to be our ambassador to the UN. So she's up there believing in globalization, that the nation state should cease to exist, that we will all answer to a single global authority. Now the Pope is endorsing it. The Vatican issues this statement not a year ago and not 5 years from now, but today, ladies and gentlemen, today, that we should have a world central bank with universal jurisdiction. I mean, go to the Drudge Report, click on the article, read it for yourself. The article straight from Vatican City, written by Reuters. I mean, read it for yourself. It's right there. Let me reread one of the key phrases. The Vatican called Monday for sweeping reforms of the world economy and the creation of an ethical global authority to regulate financial markets as demonstrations against corporate greed continue to spring up in major cities across the globe. It goes on to say the Vatican called for the establishment of a supranational authority with worldwide scope and universal jurisdiction to guide economic policies and decisions. So, do you want a universal central bank guiding your economic decisions? That's what they're proposing. And that happens to be what it says in the Bible. Let me jump on down here. Let's jump on down in Revelation chapter number 13 to verse number 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell. Talk about global control of the economy. Talk about a world central bank. That no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Wonder where you're going to get such a mark and number. Wonder who's going to be controlling the buying and the selling. Pretty obvious. The banking system, of course. I mean, who controls right now what your interest rates are, whether you can borrow money or not? Who monitors your money for the government? You know the banks are monitoring your money. I dare you deposit more than $5,000 in cash and see what happens. They'll never tell you, but they're going to issue a suspicious activity report on you. It's called a SARS report. And the banks are forbidden under penalty of law from telling you that they reported you. But then the government will investigate. What are you doing with $5,000 cash? You must be involved in some kind of illegal activity. You must be a drug runner, or you must be operating on the table in cash so that you don't have to pay taxes, perhaps. I'm talking about universal control. I'm talking about total control. Now, ladies and gentlemen, exactly what the Vatican is calling for is apparently what's going to happen. We're going to end up with a world central bank under global control. I mean, when you look at this article, it's just stunning. Toward the last of the article, it said, in fact, one can see an emerging requirement for a body that will carry out the functions of a kind of central world bank that regulates the flow and system of monetary exchanges similar to the national central banks. In other words, if you like the Federal Reserve Bank, you're going to love the Global Reserve Bank. Goes on to say, of course, this transformation will be made at the cost of a gradual balanced transfer of a part of each nation's powers to a world authority. So we're going to transfer the power of the U.S. government to the power of the world government. They don't call it world government. They know that scares you. So they call it to a world authority. That's what it is. It's a world government. And to regional authorities. But this is necessary. It's necessary. No, it's not necessary. It's horrible. But they're saying this is necessary at a time when the dynamism of human society and the economy and the progress of technology are transcending borders, which are in fact already very eroded in a globalized world. Sure, it's eroded. We planned for it to be eroded. That's the reason we signed NAFTA. That's the reason that we signed the World Trade Organization agreement. We eroded it on purpose. It was eroded by people who believe, like Strobe Talbot believes, that national sovereignty should cease to exist, that we should all answer to a single global authority. It's not eroded just because of technology. It's eroded because the decision has made for it to be eroded, and they're saying this will involve a transfer of part of each nation's powers. So we're going to give away our sovereignty. You know, Mr. Walter Cronkite heard his speech when he was given the Global Governance Award by the World Federalist Organization back in the year 2000. And he said, we are going to have to surrender part of our sovereignty. Well, you can't surrender part of your sovereignty because sovereign means no authority above you. As soon as you bow the knee to an authority above you, then you don't have sovereignty anymore. One of the things it says here, one section of the document explained why the Vatican felt the reform of a global economy was necessary and called for specific reforms such as taxation of financial transactions. So we're going to tax financial transactions. Every time you make a transaction, be a tax on it. Now, one of the things they're calling for is a financial transaction on all international financial transactions. That's called the Tobin tax. They've been trying to ram that through for 15 years. And what they want to do is take that taxation and give that money to the United Nations so that the United Nations can build this global government. So now you've got city tax, county tax, state tax, federal tax, and guess what? They want you to have one more tax. I mean, if 5 taxes are good, 6 taxes have to be better, and this will be the biggie, and that's going to be the world tax, the world government tax. And that's what they're proposing here, a taxation of financial transactions. Amazing. Let's get back to the phones now. Oh, no, we can't. We're up against a break, but as soon as we get back from the break, we will go to the phones because we have a caller coming in from New Zealand. Always glad to hear from them. So we'll be right back in a moment. In the meantime, we need to reach this world. If you would like to help us to reclaim America, please call right now and make a donation to supply magazines to every senator, every congressman, every governor. We need your help. The number to call, 1-800-ENDTIME. Do the best they can.